Monday Night Lights, Monday Night Lights, Monday Night Lights. Let's talk about what's been going on at Viking Ice Arena. You've never seen a league so exciting and tough and fast. It simply must be discussed on an equally exciting and tough podcast. What's it called? Monday Night Lights. Yeah. Monday Night Lights. Monday Night Lights. What's been going down on the ice? Who are the leaders? Who are the failures? The Ducks, the Tigers, the Nordiques, the Whalers, the Seals, the Americans, the North Stars. Who's gonna stall? Who will go far and earn the keg? Who's gonna earn the keg? We'll find out in time. Give us a holler on the whoop line.
And the Monday Night Lights podcast is back. Sorry for the quick delay. I pressed the button I shouldn't have had, but we have Mr. Pistol Pete, Crunk, and the debut of ShaunE. How you doing over there?
Doing great. Glad to be here.
What about you, Crunk? Tough loss yesterday?
It was a tough loss. Glad to be here, though, and having a beer.
And then the winner, we'll get over to that, I'm sure, in a bit as well, Mr. Pistol Pete.
Doing great. 2 winners. Remember that. Not 1, 2 in here.
Well, yep.
And possibly, the 10 o'clock pickup game winner. No.
I don't know if we technically kept score. I don't think anybody cares about that pick'em game as
So I'm
well.
officially the only loser in the room tonight. So
Possibly.
Sure. So as always, you can give us a call on the Whoop line, 714-75-WHOOP. Email the show at podcast@mnlhl. Subscribe, follow on Twitch. YouTube is youtube.mnlhl.com. Interested in coming on the podcast, especially these playoffs, trying to get people in, just let me know. We'll get you on. Reminder as well, the Dickies are coming up, and we're looking for nominations 2 weeks away before we have those. So you can go to MNL or news.mnlhl.com. There's a story in there about the Dickies, what all the awards are, the email address as well. It's pbin12@gmail.com. Just also wanted to give thanks to DP or Dave P. Looks like he subscribed for his 5th month, and Mr. Pistol Pete subscribed for his 5th month as well. So we always appreciate the love, helped us get free beer around the All-Star game and other things as well. So
When do we see them?
see what?
These other things as well.
I don't know. Those are placeholders. That could mean anything. I'm not in charge of the account. I'm not
I have
in charge
noticed
of the
some new
money.
things in this room, though. Is that where all this extra money's going?
I have no access to that control account. That's fully panty, so I got nothing from anything. So I just waste my time and have fun over here. So, but that's a fair question as well. Just a reminder: spring is coming up. Registration is closed. Sounds like we're going to have 5 teams this spring. So we grew 1 extra team. I assume we're going to be having a bye, 1 team on the bye every week, similar to how we did that in the fall. But I think it's good news that we're getting more participation. We expanded team in the spring as well.
I have no problem with that.
I saw a little sneak peek of the roster, and it looks really good, too.
Yeah, I haven't seen it. Have you seen anything, ShaunE?
I have not. I think it's are you a GM in spring or?
I was notified today.
Oh,
Today.
okay. So maybe that's the secret spring GM.
Secret.
Notified that you're going to be a GM. You didn't know if, as of today, maybe you're the 5th guy.
I know I am one of the GMs for this spring. I was notified earlier today.
That's a lot of fun. I mean, I did that last year. I think we had fun doing that. The one thing I would assume is that we're not going to have one team in the playoffs coming up this year, which it's such a small season. Your team gets off to a bad start. It's so hard to make up points. So that'll make things interesting come spring, I believe. So I think we all know what we're here for. We're here for kind of the main event. The playoffs, round 2 has started. We'll get right down to it. The Americans versus the Seals was our first game of last night. We had the Seals beating the Americans. It was a 3-1 game. ShaunE, co-GM of the Seals, you played in this game. Let's get a little bit of a rundown of what you thought.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was a very close game. It was actually an empty netter at the end there. So really, 2-1. The Americans got the first goal of the game. And then we were able to tie it up and take the lead. But no, I thought we played not our best game. but we still came out with the win. I thought our second line played really great. I know they tried to stack their lines at different points in the game, putting Sugar and Antioch and Star out there at the same time against our second line, and they held strong and didn't give up any bad zone possessions or breakaways or anything either.
I did notice at one point, I believe it was, I thought it was Sugar with Woods and with Sips. And then I noticed later on, I thought I saw Manny and Sugar together. So it seemed like they were really rotating that around.
Yep.
Seems like there was some even play around, but I didn't see many quality scoring opportunities for the Americans when it really came down to it.
Yeah. Like I said, I thought we played good defensively, and our defense played great. I know Whoop made a point that he was never going to be on the ice when Sugar was.
That was Whoop's way of saying, I'm just not going to play tonight, boys. Take care of it for me.
So, but I thought Whoop looked great. Not only last night, but the past couple of weeks. He's been a lot more confident out there, it looks like. He's going after and winning puck battles.
Yeah, I mean, he's been talking about health and wellness. He said he's been dry since the beginning of the year. You've been seeing some more effort in his skating. When you get into better shape, it's easier to put that effort in. So that is nice to see. And I think Whoop has always been that guy where at the beginning of this year, a lot of people were like, oh, he's a end of ninth. You could say he's a 10th round keeper type of thing. But as he's always had good hands. He's always been smart with the puck.
Yep.
And as he gets in better shape, his draft stock's going to be going up and up and up.
Yep. But not too far up. But I guess that's another topic, right?
I feel like I'm in the twilight zone. Whoop hasn't looked any different for the past 4 years to me.
Oh, I would totally disagree if you played with him last year.
Well, no, I remember the blue pants. I remember the baby blue pants. With everything frolicking in the wind for him. It was almost as bad as my war kilt.
Oh, that's not 100% fair. But yeah, I mean, I do think the end of last year, even with the worms, he was missing a lot of weeks. It seemed like he was kind of out on hockey. I think we even had a kind of a YouTube video with the teaser, like, can Whoop get his groove back this year type of thing, where a lot of us we were trying to get him to do that because it wasn't that we cared about how good or how bad he was. Everybody loves Whoop. We wanted him around. We wanted him around for those Friday nights, having fun, playing hockey. And he just wasn't showing up because he was feeling down on himself as well. And he's been putting in more effort. Even, now he hasn't been drinking, that's got to help. And then on top of that, he's been doing a lot of, 2 a week, 3 a weeks, all of that effort. It gets you in better shape. And even if, I think he has gotten better shape, he's looking better. But even if you don't, then your muscles, your legs, everything gets better and you can actually go harder and you get more used to it. Yeah. So I think it's a great job by Whoop.
Yep. He's been playing great. He's been playing on my wing on Wednesday nights too. So a lot of smoke.
Oh yeah. He's a K-Felk, non-K-Felk right now, filling in, getting those skates. But, you got to love him. He's one of those guys, too, when he fills in. He brings beer every couple weeks because he's that's a way to get, if you want to be able to sub on a lot of teams, bring beer every time you're trying to sub, I think is a good way to go.
Yep.
It's just a quick interruption, just for, I don't know how the forum feels, but, I hear ShaunE talk on the microphone. I'm getting that 100.3 Pillow Talk vibe. I think it drives all the ladies crazy. He's got that little svelty voice on the mic right now.
Oh, now he's got a little bit of blush going on. That's right. Is Victoria's mother watching right now?
No, she's not. I don't think she knows about this. I don't think she needs to.
Don't worry. We can get her the YouTube video. She'll be able to watch and go from there. So now, ShaunE, we're sticking with you because obviously you played in this game. How do you think, we heard about them switching up the lines, everything like that. How do you think the Proctor being gone affected their team?
You can't understate how important he is. I know for us last night, we knew that was a must-win game for us. We're the number 1 seed. It's a best 2 out of 3 series, and one of the best players in the league is gone on their team. So that's something we can't blow it. It's a game that we had to win. And he's tough to replace. There's no other player in the league that plays his style.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the things where we all know that Sugar, who replaced him, is a great player. He's tough to stop. He's got a motor that just won't quit. But then again, when you haven't been playing with a team all year, you just don't have that chemistry, and there's not a whole lot you can do about it.
Right.
Yeah.
And Proctor and Antioch, they've been skating together for the past couple of years.
I think even too, like if there was because they beat us on. I can remember them scoring a goal like this where you have like that bomb pass that Stardust when he's behind the crease, like all the way up to center ice with. And I didn't get to see a lot of the game. I saw about half of it, and there was like 2 different times they tried that like bomb pass up to Sugar, and it was just off a little bit. And like that's where that chemistry thing comes in.
Who got the first goal for the Americans? Was it Sugar?
I think it was Sips.
Sips got the goal?
Yeah, it was Sips, I believe. You guys went up, was it 1? No, did they go up or you guys go
They
up?
went up.
And
up.
then
That's right.
Pfister, he actually had a hat trick last night. Like you said, one of them was on an empty netter, but actually I'm going to give you all the credit for that empty netter because the Americans were on a power play at that time, and you were all over the ice. You knocked it free to actually get it up to Pfister to be able to go and grab it. So you kind of did the dirty work that led to that empty netter. So I think that was a great job on your side of things.
Well, thanks. It was fun. Glad it ended well.
I can't stress enough. I didn't watch the whole game, obviously, because we were getting ready for our game. But I did notice that Dylan, made a few good saves, and the game was 1-1 at the time, and I believe Sugar came down and I wasn't maybe a half breakaway, but Dylan really bailed you guys out for making that game 2-1. I don't know if anybody noticed it. I mean, maybe it was just the angle I was at because I was by the Zamboni doors. Sugar got Dylan moving the wrong way, moving with him from the right post to the left post, and he put it back high in the left post, and Dylan just barely got a blocker on it and put that to the side. I mean, that game, if that goes in, maybe an inch lower, an inch higher, then then it's either a tie game or they're up by 1. Completely different game. So I mean, again, Dylan did his part, right? He shut the door when he had to shut the door.
Yeah, when you're in a tight game like that, it turns into one of those situations where if one team gets that dirty, loose goal, even a goal, you start to tighten up. I mean, they got the lead. You guys were able to come back. It was still early, so it wasn't that big of a deal. But the longer that goes, the more you start to be like, are we going to get that goal? What's going to happen here? Who's going to be scoring that power? But luckily, you guys have been a high-scoring team all year, so that definitely helps as well.
Yeah. But yeah, like what Pete was saying, when it's a low-scoring game like that, any good or bad bounce can really change the direction of the game. And especially in playoffs, first seed, fourth seed, doesn't matter.
Now, did you guys have any strategy going into that game, or was it kind of just play the Seals game? Was it we're trying to lock on certain lines, we're trying to look for matchups, or were you guys worried about any of that side of things?
No, we're just trying to play our game. Aside from Whoop, just making sure that Alan Z was out to guard Sugar instead of himself. But yeah, no, I thought, one thing I thought, I don't think we played our best last night. I thought we were maybe a little
one trickish, right?
A little bit
more of a one trick pony yesterday, right?
One trick and a little, maybe a little cocky because hey, we're cocky Seals number 1 going in, and they're missing Proctor, and so I think there's some of that. But no, we're going to be ready to go for next week.
Yeah, it's one of those things where we can't be too cocky, but at the same time in your head, it's like, oh crap, we know Proctor's back next week, so we need to make sure we get this game because of all of a sudden Proctor's back and we got to win 2 straight. We'd rather win, 1 out of 2 or 1 out of 3, I guess. No. 2 games left. 1 out of 2. 50% instead of 100% of the games remaining. I can't do math. Maybe a little bit. I don't know.
Can we mute you at this point?
Do you have points to mute me?
I'm gonna try, man. Let me just type some gibberish here to get some points up.
Yeah. That'll work for me as well. So yeah, and then we're gonna do things a tiny bit different this week. We're actually gonna, instead of going on to the next game, we're gonna look at game 2 of the series because we're already talking about this. I'm gonna go over to Pistol real quick here. What do you think the keys are for the Americans next week?
All right, so you put Proctor back in the lineup, right? So right away you have the familiarity as we've all talked about, and ShaunE was talking about too. So now you have the home run play in play, right? You have Star looking for Proctor. Proctor knowing when Star's going to put it. So I mean, the keys to the game for the Americans are going to be get Proctor going early, right? It's get him going early, get him going, get him skating, get shots on that right away, and the key to that is you need to get a goal on Dylan right away. You can't wait till the second. You can't wait till the third. You can't go down. You need to get in Dylan's face right off the bat and put one by him. Dylan Dylan's a very good goalie. He makes a lot of fantastic saves. I mean, I see it on the Tuesday league. He's just shutting the door on guys that have no reason to be shut down. And Dylan's just throwing pads out, blockers out. He's pulling shit out of nowhere and making saves. You need to get a goal on Dylan right away, and you need to make him uncomfortable, like any other goalie. You get enough goals on him, not that they fall apart, but it makes the game a lot easier if you can get 1 or 2, and then you kind of get in their heads a little, and they start second guessing themselves, that kind of thing. If you let Dylan get comfortable, it's a tough mountain to climb. But with the Americans, get Proctor going, shots on net, get in Dylan's face, and put a couple in early as quick as you can. And then, obviously, what's the key to stopping the Seals? One's in the room, the other one had a hat trick the first game. Stop them, and you got a good chance.
Crunk, what do you think the keys are for the Americans coming up?
For the Americans, yeah, it's all about getting Proctor moving and get him in the play. I mean, he can score in bunches just like Pfister can. I mean, like you guys again, 3-1 hat trick by Pfister. I mean, you could read that game script and just flip it the other way. It'd be 3-1 Proctor. So get him going, get him moving. Yeah, you hear that feedback too?
Yeah, I don't know. Your microphone, it might be some chords I might have to look at. It's giving a little bit of feedback. So we'll deal with it now, and then I'll look at it this weekend.
Could be my magnetic personality.
I don't know about that. But yeah, I agree. I think for the Americans, obviously Proctor is back. We know that. We know what they've done all year. Antioch, Proctor, they're a very good line. We know they kind of have the Sips, Wood, that line as well. It's been pretty effective all year. They have a good defense. Obviously, J Flo is one of the top goalies in the league as well. I think a key for them is to not panic coming in and to play their game, play their lines, and not overshoot things. Now, ShaunE, coming back over to you, knowing that Proctor's back, is it play the Seals game, change things up? Is there any thought of, I'm assuming the general is out, I guess, question one.
To my knowledge, yes.
And is Rubel your permanent sub type of deal, or?
He is for the time being. So.
Is there any thought with him, known as a defenseman with an MNL, possibly putting him back there, maybe moving an Alan Z, who's still, he's a quick skater. He's got a great shot. He can move the puck. Is there any thought of messing with those lines as well?
Not really. It hasn't really been a serious discussion doing that.
Kind of one of the things that if it's working right now, let's not mess things up.
Yeah, I think it's not really broken, so why try and fix it?
That is very fair as well. Now we'll kind of get to some of this a little bit into the next game, but there are rumors that Matt Taylor might not be playing coming up next week. Sounds like he's been hurt. We'll talk about this some more. And there's also rumors that Pfister might be the guy they're looking to call in for that. Is there any concern about Pfister playing in that 9:00 game and then playing for the Seals in the next game?
The answer is yes. Don't say anything else. Say yes.
Well, I'll be honest, yeah. But at the end of the day, I mean, I'm not going to tell him no. But
I don't have any ulterior motives. I just trust myself to drive him nuts. If he wants to be targeted for the 10:00 game, let him skate in the 9:00 game.
I mean, is there any? I mean, I don't think it would be out of line. Maybe I'm wrong. Never being a GM to be like, oh, we prefer you not to skate. I don't know how that works in the ivory tower. I don't know how things go like that. Obviously you want subs to be fair. There are a lot of guys. There's the Sugars, the Trents, the Sertas, all those guys that are, very good players as well. Obviously Pfister is very good as well, but it's also like we need to concentrate on our playoff path. Is that any? Has that been thought of at all?
Not really. I mean, honestly, I think I saw it tonight. There's notice of it, so I haven't put a lot of thought into that.
Those cocky Seals, I tell you. Those cocky Seals. Don't even think about
I mean, Pfister's got the legs, so he could skate both games.
I was going to say, he skated in that second skate on the NHL rink, and he did not look slow at all. He was skating around people. He looked good. Pistol, how does the second skate, how do you deal with that, or how do you feel?
About him skating?
No, if you do a back-to-back, do you feel a big difference between one game or the other? Do you feel like it really affects you? Do you feel like you can do it without any
It depends on the player.
ramification?
I've done enough back-to-backs this year, because of my draft status this year, where haven't had an issue. I mean, yeah, the next day hurts. I mean, don't get me wrong. My old body, if I don't put enough Bengay and everything else through my body, it doesn't feel as good as it should. But then and there, I can still play 2 games, and I think a lot of the higher skill players can still do the 2 games. But what it comes down to is it's pacing yourself, right? I mean, most of the times in regular season, if you're playing that first game for your non-team, you're not. I don't want to say you're not giving 110%, but you're also not putting yourself in situations where you're going to get hurt, you're going to get run over, you're going to tire yourself out. I mean, if you see like an icing, you're not going to go balls out to go get the puck. You're going to let it be an icing. You're just going to conserve your energy. You're still going to play hard, but you're going to hopefully be smart about it so that you have the legs for the second game.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know if I know with me sometimes, and I feel like it's weird. Sometimes I feel better in the second skate. I don't know if my legs have just loosened up. I don't know if that's something of being an old man. I know for me, it's really tough to say, oh, my team's playing the 10 o'clock game. I'm going to take it easy in game 1. And I actually know there's been a few times where I've subbed, and I've actually subbed in the second game and had my game in the first, where it's like my legs feel like crap. I feel like crap this most of the game. And the second game, it's like, I feel great. I don't know if it's just warming up your legs, whatnot. So it's a difficult thing. Crunk, do you have any experience in any of this?
I was gonna say I've actually feel the same way. Like it feels like sometimes in the second game, like right at the beginning, it feels hard to get back into it again for a minute because you've been off for like 20 minutes or 30 minutes. But yeah, I feel fine in the second game. Like I almost feel better at times, like you were saying.
Yeah. So, yeah, that can be a challenge there. So I don't know.
Can I add?
Of course.
I think Proctor would be a good sub at 9 o'clock.
He would be a good sub, but he's not allowed to. He's first overall, Matt Taylor.
Do the North Stars want to allow that?
We'll follow the rules. North Stars follow the rules.
Troy would let that happen.
No, but I mean, the point you're bringing up, and I think, because I was going to go the same way too, Pfister would be a good sub for the 9 o'clock game, but the problem is, again, you guys are up by 1. Do you want to chance it in having the Americans tie the series and go to a third game, winner take all, or do you want to try to close it out next week? And if the answer is I want to close it out next week, you say, you know what, Pfister, as much as I trust you to be able to play 2 games, sit your ass down at 9 o'clock, enjoy the show, and play at 10.
Right.
That's where I go. That's where I would go with it as a GM. Now, if you put him in there to play, that's fine. He'll be out there. I'll abuse him as best I can. Not to hurt him,
right.
But I'm there to win a game, and if he's in my way or if he's coming down the ice, I will abuse him.
Right.
I mean,
but and he's going to know better than anyone else
how
he's going to feel in the second game. So maybe that first game will help him get his legs under him for the second game. That's you got to just know your own body and how you're going to do it.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it might be Ty. He's been one of the biggest. Ty and Troy have been some of the biggest advocates of, hey, we're not scared of having Proctor sub against us. We're good with that. If a case like this happens, we would probably do that. So
again, I don't think I think the one time we said no to Proctor was, I think, when we said we want to get that number 2 seed with everything else that's going on with the North Stars, and we said, look, we're trying to get that 2 seed. We're not going to chance anything. We're not going to roll the dice with a hot Proctor right now. We want the 2 seed. We would let it play out as is, and we wanted to get that in the playoffs. I don't think we want to do it either, but I trust Ty and Troy, and I think they trust me that if I had to go up again head to head with them, I can hold my own. I mean, I think that's kind of where it comes down to, is like they trust the lineup we have, that we can handle whoever they throw at us.
And then obviously, since we're talking about Pfister being like, oh, we want him to be fresh and everything like that, the Americans are facing elimination. Do you really want your top guy playing the game before, when if you lose, you're done? So that would be the other thing, is if they actually officially let them play, it'd be tough to be like, okay, he can play. This is his sub chance. And now he's coming into our game. He's not as fresh as he normally is. And we possibly lose.
I mean, exactly. I mean, I don't think the Seals and Americans want their top guys tired at all. And not only tired, but God forbid something stupid happens in the game, right? That somebody runs into somebody, just something completely accidental, because none of us are trying to hurt anybody out there. We're not going after people. But if something shitty happens to somebody out there and then they're hurt for the next game or they can't play, then what happens there? I don't think anybody wants that. Personally, I think the best bet is you go outside, you go look at the other two teams, the other three teams that aren't playing, and pick their top guys to play. But again, I'm not the Tigers management. I'm not the Seals management. They can do what they want to do. We'll be ready to play next week.
Yeah, I mean, it's a tough situation for all teams involved. I mean, obviously the Tigers, they're missing their number one guy.
Yeah, that definitely is not a fun thing, and no one's going to like that for sure. But I think our next thing would be then obviously is the Tigers versus the North Star series. We did get a voicemail from Mr. Ty Otto. So before we get into the details of this, let's play this real quick.
I am He-Man, Prince of the North Stars and defender of the secrets of the North Stars. There is Troy, my fearless friend. Fabulous powers were revealed to me the day I held up my magic twig and said, by the power of the North Stars, I have the power! Troy became the mighty sniper, and I became the He-Man, the most powerful man in MNL. Only 3 others share this secret. Our friends Pistol Pete, Doc Hollywood, and Geo. Together we defend the Castle North Star from the evil forces of the Tigers. He-Man!
All right, Ty's been drinking.
Yeah, so that's Ty Otto's message. Just for a little back story there, Ty, obviously he tried to do some kind of production there. He can't actually call the Whoop line and leave a message. I just get a text message from him saying, here's an audio message, please read. And then it's also in some kind of weird audio file that I don't know where it is, where I have to do some kind of weird Google that says convert this VRS or whatever it is into an MP3, load it into a website. So for all I know is I have a virus on my computer now from doing that. But, for
there's Ty.
The Ty, yeah. If you noticed in Slack, Ty did post a nice little message of him in He-Man. He's kind of going along those lines, but we always appreciate the call. I found it was pretty entertaining, so
I think he left out a shout out to Joey Ellis. He had a couple nice goals last night.
Apparently Joey Ellis isn't part of his secret about his powers.
No. The Joey Ellis gave him the powers.
Oh, is that
he gave him the magic twig.
So I didn't even actually get to state it. Last night's game was 8-2 for the North Stars. Like we talked about earlier, there was a game at the NHL ice as well. I was playing in that. I actually tried to jump off a couple minutes early to come look at the game. Walked over, 8-2. It's kind of like, oh well. Just pretty much turned right back around and decided to get a beer and take a shower. So
we noticed that too. We did laugh on the bench.
Yeah, it was disappointing. So for the winners, let's start with Pete. Kind of give us your rundown of this game.
All right, so very quickly, I mean, the game couldn't have started worse off for us. I mean, I think it was like 20 seconds in the game, and we win the draw right to Matt Taylor. Matt Taylor comes on the left wing boards, throws it to the middle, hits bin. Marvin decides it wasn't going fast enough to Riley, so he hits it even harder and puts a 5-hole on Riley, so we're down by a goal right off the bat.
Wait, goal by Marvin?
Goal by Marvin. No,
nice.
I'm not kidding you. Ask Marvin next week. He said the puck wasn't going fast enough to Riley, so he helped it along. So, and then, so we're down 1-0. The very next shift, Ty goes out with it as Prince Ty, right? Prince Otto, so like the candy ass, and couldn't hold a puck on a stick to save his life. And and I think that was about the only weaknesses we had in that game. After that second shift, we kind of all took a deep breath on the bench, and we came out and Yeah, Ty got the first goal, and then we just kept popping them in. I think by the end of the period, we're either up 2-1, 3-1. By the end of the second, we were up 6-1, and we finished. And then we got up to 7-1 before the Tigers scored. And even that was kind of like a gimme kind of goal. I think it was a bad angle from Ben, and then we popped in the eighth. It was just one of those games, right? I mean, we got up early, and we just didn't let up the gas. I think Ben had the greatest analogy after the game on the party deck. He was saying it kind of reminded him of. Before they mute me, they kind of reminded him of like little brother, big brother type deal, where like little brother gets and this is direct quote from Ben. He said like, well, your little brother gets a couple good shots on you, pops in your mouth, and you get, as the big brother, you get pissed off and you just beat the shit out of him. That's what he said it reminded him of. But yeah, I mean, and I don't want to run on too long. I mean, there was really not much to say. We had a good game on the North Star side, pretty complete. And 1 second, Crunk, I'll let you in. But I mean, just kind of a couple stats. I mean, a couple things. Every one of our forwards scored last night. We had 8 goals. We had 6 different goal scorers. Our Ellis had 2, Gio had 2, and then the rest of the forwards all had 1. And I think Marvin popped in a couple assists too. So our 10 skaters, 7 had points last night. So, I mean, we just had a very good game. Ellis did fantastic again. I mean, I'm commending both Troy and Ellis. They made my job super easy on the first line. All I had to do was stand with Matt Taylor because they were scoring goals. I didn't have to do much. Ellis had a great hustle play to get his second goal. Well, not a second goal. Get Troy's goal. He made that whole play happen on the boards. His own dump out from the zone, chasing down, beating Hedis to the puck, doing a wraparound, then Troy finishing the garbage, and then throwing the people's elbow on Hedis just for good measure. But, yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know, before we go over to Crunk, was that Ty's first goal postseason / regular season of the year?
I don't know. If that was the case, we should have grabbed the puck for him. But I think that might have been.
Rob, the referee, did offer it to him.
Yeah, he did. Okay, it must have been. I mean, I was surprised it was Ty, to be honest with you, but he was Ty. I think Ty popped in. I don't know what his final stat line was, but I think he had a goal and at least an assist. He was hustling his ass off, kind of like we were talking about the whoopie whoop, right? Where he's been playing a little harder lately and trying to do his thing. Ty had a pretty good game last night. He was busting his ass off, and yeah, proud of the guy. He did good.
And then the other big thought there was Ellis, he was supposed to miss from what my understanding, and Ike was supposed to be taking his spot. So with him kind of last second being able to make the game and then scoring 2 goals, that is huge.
You ain't kidding. And
not to say that Ike wouldn't have done good for the team or scored or did anything, but when you have a player come in and score 2 goals, it's hard to say he's replaceable.
Right. And we don't know what Ike would have done, but it's what we said earlier with Proctor. Ellis is our winger with me. Ellis is my winger, me and Troy. He's been playing a fantastic game. Ever since that trade, Ellis has been kind of the anchor in that line. I mean, I hate to say it. You can look at me, you can look at Troy, oh yeah, Sniper Troy or Pistol Pete, but Ellis has been the glue on that line. He's been busting his ass off, getting in good positions, making good passes, and finishing the damn puck. And one thing I noticed with him when he's been scoring goals, they have not been little chintzy flip shots. Every time he puts that puck on net, if it goes by the goal, you see that net like pops back about a half a foot every time. I mean, he puts something on that shot every time.
He can rip it.
That guy has always had a shot. He's always one of those players that's a pain in the ass, it feels like, to defend. He's kind of a chippy player. He'll get in your face, kind of push you a little bit, and plus he's got a shot where there'll be times even where it feels like you're defending him pretty well, and he'll just snipe it. It goes in the top corner, and you're just like, crap. Ty does claim he had a goal this year. He also claims he had a sub goal. We all know sub goals don't count. Kind of the Peso rule that Peso didn't have goals until whatever week it was, but I had sub goals. Nobody. You had no goals. Crunk, let's kind of move over to you real quick. Tough game. I know how it was last week's podcast. I had to go through the same thing, but at least it's a 3-game series, so you have next week as well.
That's true. As I think Ben put it, or it was either Ben or actually had us in our team chat, basically said it doesn't really matter if we lost that game by 10 goals or 1 goal. It's still a loss either way. So Ben said last night we're in the same spot really that we were to start the series. We still need 2 wins. So we just got to go get them.
Yeah. As soon as the horn went off, it's 0-0. Right?
Yeah. It was a weird feeling game too. I mean, it was like 20 seconds into the game, we're like, hell yeah, this game's gonna go our way. Like a fluky goal like that, or like all that shit they were talking. Like, oh yeah, this is good. And then 3 minutes later, it wasn't so good, and it got worse as the game went on. So.
Yeah, that is definitely a horrible feeling. So like I said, I can relate. I guess it was last week. The Whalers kind of had the same thing as well. Now Matt Taylor, obviously, we're hearing he's out. I was hearing it looked like he was hurting pretty good during the game, or his elbow was bothering him, and it was just one of those situations.
Yeah, you could tell he wasn't 100%. Like he wasn't as strong on the puck as he normally was. It looked like he was like favoring his arm, even just skating in between. In between plays, just he didn't look like he had the same legs underneath him. Like you could tell it was definitely bugging him. There was a couple times in the second half of the game, he just had random fall, normal hockey fall. You'd see him land on his elbow and he'd skate off. So it was definitely bugging him last night. He definitely wasn't what I've seen playing with him for the last couple months.
Yeah, that's never fun, and obviously we don't want anybody to get more hurt. Pete being out there. Did you see much different with Matt Taylor compared to what he normally does? Could you tell it looked like he was hurting, or?
You know what? We've all played through injuries. I said this the last time I was on. I know that elbow injury he has. I have an elbow injury too. You know, with bursitis and stuff like that. If I hit it, it'll split open and bleeding, inflate, and I still have to play on it. His, if it's like a staph infection type deal, if it's like infected, it hurts a hell of a lot more, and I know it's bugging him. My father will have the same thing. Now, could I tell if he was hurt? I'm sure he wasn't feeling 100%, but elbow doesn't equal legs. He was still skating. He may not have had the power on the stick or the shot, but he was still trying to skate out there pretty hard. And you know, you can thank Troy with his copyrighted Desert Swarm. We weren't going to let Matt Taylor do anything out there. End of story. I don't care if he was 100% or 5%. He was not going to do anything out there, and that was my job. That's why I was happy that Ellis and Troy popped in 3 goals between them. I was not going to let him do anything.
I bet.
And you were locked on him all night also.
Well, yeah, that's what I do in the playoffs. The regular season's regular season. Now it's the playoffs.
Yeah, and obviously, you know he's their top guy. You know you got to shut him down.
To
be fair, they do have other guys that can score, but you know he's the main guy you need to worry about.
Right, and don't make it sound like, oh, you know, I pulled some heroic bullshit and didn't stop, because he still had a beautiful shot that Riley made a goddamn spectacular save on, that he actually got yelled at by Joey Cube saying that he knocked the net off, and he's like, how else am I going to make that save coming across? But regardless, and I think Taylor still made a couple really good shots on net. So it's not like he didn't get the chances, but you know, throughout the course of the game, if you limit him, like if you limit ShaunE, you limit Fister, you limit Proctor, you know, your percentages start going up because you're not giving them the 5 or 6 shots a game. You're only giving them 1 or 2, and they have to score on those. And if they don't, you know, I like to take those odds. If you only give them 1 shot a game, they're more than likely not going to score on the only shot they get.
For sure.
Yeah, and so moving into next week, obviously it's do or die for the Nordiques. Or actually, real quick,
I think they died a long time ago.
Yeah, they're dead.
Real quick, obviously we're missing one of our favorites this week, Mr. Hedis. How was Mr. Hedis's reactions throughout the game?
Tantrum? The goalie tantrum, I think. I saw a stick throw. I saw him getting pissed off, raising his hands over a non-call that wasn't a call. Well, they actually called it, but he was still complaining about it. I think it was a goalie tantrum. I think he was pissed off that the game was going the way it was, and anything he tried to stop was going through him. We all have games like that.
Crunk, I don't want to throw you under the bus, so I'm not going to have you answer this. ShaunE, I'm sure you saw some of the game. How was Hedis' emotions in this game?
Like Pete said, not great. But I mean that, you know, I think every team is going to have a game like that, you know, at least once or twice a year,
right.
And it sucks when it happens in the playoffs. But and it's one of those games where we can tell early on the wheels are just falling off, and this is not our night. And it sucks when that happens, especially in the playoffs. So
the North Stars Seals
exactly.
game, right?
Yep, about a month ago or so, and
or some of the other North Star games from years past when you have the autos breaking down and going, ape shit on the bench.
Right. Where it feels like every shot's going in, that you can't do
Right.
anything right, and it sucks, but yeah.
Right. I mean, even Troy was starting to get heated at the beginning of that game when shit wasn't going right. He was starting to, like when on Riley's save, he started yelling at, Sikorsky about, you got to be in position. It's like, just settle down. The save was made. We're okay. That kind of stuff, try to calm the troops down. I mean, we all have those games. I mean, and it's not that Hedis is, a petulant child or anything like that. He had a goalie tantrum. Goalies have those type of games and they get pissed off and they start breaking shit. Yeah. I mean, that's the way it goes.
And it's a tough thing. I know for me, I blame myself for most things when it comes to whenever I'm on defense and a goal scored, I'm usually like, oh, it's probably my fault. All my teams are looking at me like that. But every once in a while, there are goals where I think, oh, it's this guy's fault or that guy's fault. I know personally, I don't try to blame it on people right there because it's such a tough thing as a team. Like, do you say something to a guy? Do you try to give, hey, you should have done this here? They're still going to take that negative. Do you lose your cool? It's not easy. I think we've all been in every one of those situations on how you handle those. And it's not easy because in a lot of ways, you want someone who's going to care more than the person who's going to rub it off as well. You get those people who just don't care. In some ways, you are pissed because you're like, dude, I want you to try harder. I want you to do that. Right. But at the same time, I think we've seen times, and Troy's cool with this, where Troy's yelling at the ref, yelling at this person, yelling at that person. And it becomes like, dude, let's chill a little bit too.
Just cut your losses.
It's one of those things of like, what's the proper middle point there, and how do you handle that?
Yeah. Well, the point of the proper way is you can vent. Even if you're starting to throw shit and get violent, it's kind of a little overboard. Like, I go back to Joey Beans, right? Those poor sticks of his. I swear to God.
Yeah, I've been there before. I've definitely goals of winning. I've wanted to do that, and luckily I've been able to stop myself kind of mid, like bringing the stick up of just thinking of dollar signs in my head of like, nope, it's not worth it. It's stupid. Why are you doing that? But obviously next week, kind of where I was going into before, we have a do or die game for the Tigers. We're not 100% sure. There's rumors about Pfister coming in. Maybe not. Maybe so. What do you think, Crunk, the key adjustments are as of right now for the Tigers?
I mean, again, assuming that we don't know what's going to happen with Matt Taylor. So if he's in or he's not, we've played a lot of games without Matt Taylor this year. Like, he missed a lot of games on top of the injury. So it's not like something new, or this is definitely something that we've dealt with. I mean, you've subbed with us a bunch of times, right? I mean,
yeah, I have. I can't do it next week. Sorry.
No, you sure? Just play both ways.
That's right. Give me a penny. I'll switch on and off.
That's a bold strategy. We're bringing in Pete and Mickey and then bringing the sub.
So, I mean, we've had a lot of subs, I mean, for Matt. So, I mean, I'm sure we're going to mix some things up. It seems like depending which sub we get, we mix lines up, mix positions up. So, I think we'll be fine either way.
ShaunE, what do you think the Tigers need to do? You're kind of the neutral party before we go over to Pete. Is there anything, and I think you saw some of the game, at least in between the games. Is there any glaring stuff that you saw that maybe the Tigers could do to adjust and kind of improve their chances?
I mean, it's hard to learn anything useful from last night's game, to be honest. The way things just fell apart so early on. But I think just, they've had a pretty good season. And so I think just, going back to what made them successful this season and, making smart plays defensively. I know a lot of miscues last night in their own zone, which resulted in bad turnovers, which were, converted into goals. So I think just avoiding those type of plays will go a long way.
Yeah. And I think there's the point, and I think we would all agree, where things get out of hand. It's easy to make it get out of hand even more. You get someone like the North Stars who you're getting up, you're scoring goals. It's easier to turn it on. It's easier to turn it off for the other team. You kind of accept what's going to go on because, let's face it, at a certain point, you're down 7-1. You pretty much know you're not coming back. Any key points that you see? I don't know. You probably don't want to give a strategy, or even just key points on the North Stars of what you guys need to do next week to close out the series.
And no, actually, I was kind of distracted there. Bertuzzi just took a cross check to the mouth. It was pretty ridiculous.
Is that when he threw his glove at a guy?
No,
as
no,
well?
that was Subban. I'm sorry, I got way off tangent there. That moron right there, whatever his name is, Matt Hayden, came in and gave Bertuzzi a cross check right to the chin, and then the fight ensued, and then Subban was an idiot, and Bertuzzi's going to go after him, I think. But the game's almost over, so we don't see a fight. North Star strategy, very quickly. No, we don't change a damn thing. We don't change a damn thing. I mean, the only thing we would do is don't give up a goal in 30 seconds. Right? I mean, we got to come out with the same fire. I mean, the game is 0-0. Get on Hedis early. I mean, that's going to be the key. Hedis is going to be thinking about those 8 goals he just gave up, and he's going to be mentally prepared to play a hell of a game. I think Hedis, every time he's given up a lot of goals, he bounces back with a really strong game. I think he always does that. He puts on West Side Story, puts on the jacket, starts snapping his fingers, and gets ready to go. But I think the key for us is going to be once that drop of the puck, whoever we're facing, whoever we have to see, whether it's Pfister, whether it's you, ShaunE, Serta, Fam, whoever, Sugar, get going early. Don't let the sub take control of the game and get shots on Hedis, get by that defense, and just get shots in traffic in front and try to put another 1 or 2 past Hedis and try to control the game from the get-go.
That is fair. Super quick, I did miss this with our points. We can read stuff out loud. This message, it looks like it's coming from Mr. Jeremy Drager. Whoop, it's me, your favorite pro whooper. Panny speaking to you via fucking Piercy of all people. Would you make me the happiest team captain ever? Would you please sub for the K-Falcons tomorrow night? Will you bless us with your smoke?
Is that a request to Peso?
That's from Panny, and I'm just gonna say love Panny at the end. So looks like we're trying to get Whoop to sub for us with all his goodness and graciousness. Like I said, I just saw Whoop actually put a yes as well. I feel like this is kind of a proposal engagement. Congratulations to everybody. So
It's a podcast first.
not for reading stuff, for as far as a commitment
Proposals.
from one person to another, I would say yes. Again, Whoop just said he will bring beers tomorrow as well. Like we talked about earlier in the podcast, one way to be able to sub for teams a lot is to bring beers a lot as well.
Beers and smoke.
So I do apologize to the fans out there. It looks like that actually was placed 36 minutes ago, and I just didn't notice it, paying attention to the conversation. But
It'd be really funny.
Who's
if Charter
Babel
found it and
KD?
stuff.
I don't know who is this Babel KD.
I believe that is Mr. Chad.
If that's Chad, Chad's late. I already said that ShaunE has that svelty voice. Sounds like it's 100.3 pillow talk, driving all the ladies crazy right before they go to bed. I mean, I already mentioned that, Chad. If that's
Was
you,
it Alan Aldred? Was that his name?
I don't know what his name was. I just
Alan
remember.
Almond.
I just
Nah,
remember, I
Alan
just remember he
Almond.
had that nice little deep voice, smooth deep voice. You know, that's what ShaunE sounds like on the podcast. I mean, we're gonna get at least 30 more subscribers by tomorrow.
Oh yeah.
That's right.
Make sure to. Oh, well, what really happened is we'll start putting some YouTube videos out there just with the camera facing at ShaunE,
That's
some
right.
Instagram videos
He could
just
be our,
looking at
he could be the
ShaunE.
segue. He should actually do the intro to Monday Night Lights podcast. Get rid of the
Sub-
song and put him to start talking.
Whoa, people love the song.
I love the song.
See, I didn't say everybody does. I just said people. You know, 1, 2. I don't know what the technicality of people is. I love the song. ShaunE loves the song. That's got to at least be people. So,
Yep.
Quick thing, since we're, one of the things right now is we have only 4 games going on. Makes it harder for the length of the podcast to go into what it normally is, but doesn't matter as long as it's kind of what people like. There's a little bit of accusations, I would say, today in Slack about the Nordiques and the North Stars collusion theory of, did last year the North Stars gift the Nordiques that trade to essentially get 1 and 2 overall, knowing that a favor would have to be returned at a later time? And the Pistol Pete trade happened this year as the return. I'm not going to go over to Pistol because he's involved in this. ShaunE, do you buy
hell with
any of
you.
this?
No, I don't think there's a direct conspiracy. I just think, honestly, it was probably bad management on the Nordiques' part. I think you traded away 2 players who were, they they sold low on 2 great players, which you know, I think is a mistake. But I understand why they did it at the time. But no, I mean you know, everyone knows who Geo and Pistol are and what they're capable of.
Yeah, it's one of those cases of, it's almost like the Ducks. People were seeing the Ducks this year. They were saying, you guys are at the bottom. You guys aren't doing good. Is it better to make a move or to stand pat? And they stood pat, where you could say the Nordiques, they decided to roll the dice and see if it would help on their team. Crunk, are you buying any of these theories?
Nah, I don't think there's any collusion. I mean, it could have been like desperation, but not like collusion. Like just trying to mix things up, try like get this. Like you said, the Ducks didn't make a move and they missed, and the Deeks did make a move and barely made it in. Right? I mean, so
I think we're just salty. It's the North Stars.
Yeah, probably. I mean, we were salty last year, but the
being
North
honest.
Stars still had I think the North Stars had the best record last year, didn't they? Or they had like the highest. Like, I mean, they won 12 in a row last year, giving away that first round pick. That was last year, right?
Was it? I thought the Deeks were the #1 team last year.
They were the #1 team, but I thought what am I mistaken? I thought the Stars went on a run, or maybe it was the year before. I thought the Stars did pretty good last year too, though. Regardless.
They were. I mean,
The North
Stars
Stars
were in the
weren't
finals last year.
bad in
Yeah.
any way as of last year. Obviously, it
You're
went
right.
to the final game possible in there, so you could say that trade worked for either team. Just people were throwing out there. Kind of
Yeah.
needed a subject to kind of
was
just bring up
convenient.
real quick.
It was very convenient. I mean, when Panny put that text out to Maki, or that when he posted on Slack, it did look kind of convenient. It's like, oh yeah, maybe we should hire Sips as do the Mueller investigation. I mean, he'll be thorough about it. But you know, if you're on the political channel, you understand. But anyways,
I would advise no one. I've never been in there. Don't go in the
no,
political
don't go in
channel.
there. Don't go in there. It's a shit show, but it's a fun shit show. You know, you get a good laugh.
Also, want to give a quick shout out to Young TR7 for now following the MNL channel. We always appreciate that. Trying to get to that 100 mark as well.
All right.
How many are we at?
I have no clue.
Oh, okay.
You know, I was going to add one thing though to the collusion though, because I mean, I'm not in the war room. I wasn't in the trade room, you know, with Koner and Panny, but I had been in their ear for about the last 3 or 4 games before the trade, and I had been mentioning to Panny that, you know, the biggest problem the Deeks were having was coming out the zone. It was too slow, right? You know, we had our defenseman Brennan, Dougie, and Sukis, and then Gumma too, because he was playing D at the time. You know, the biggest complaint I had was that we're not moving the puck fast enough out the zone. We're getting possession. We're getting guys open on the forward side, but the defensemen were waiting about 2 seconds too long to move the puck, and it was costing the forwards at the time, me, Fem, Kimmel, being able to come out the zone quick enough with speed so that we can catch most of these guys, you know, with an odd man rush or something like that. We were forced to stop and wait for the puck to come to us. So I kept telling, you know, Drager, I'm like, we need to get some defensemen in here that can move the puck. We need to change things around. Kimmel requested to play D. I requested to play D just to help it out.
You're not a defenseman, Pete. I've actually seen you back there. I thought you'd be good at it, but you weren't.
You played
What are you
goalie
talking
one
about,
time
man?
for the Worms, man. You
I
played
did.
great.
I
Was
play
there
good defense.
third defenseman
Yeah.
back there?
Yeah, I can play good D. I just like to score goals.
But yeah, I don't
yeah.
think that Drager and
No,
Cohen
you
would
traded
actually
me.
do.
After-
I don't think
after
they
I
would.
told them what they're doing. They traded me.
I don't think they would do any collusion either. I
Loud mouth. They got rid of them.
I think they have too much pride in doing that. But I
Yeah.
think it's a fun theory just to kind of joke about and everything.
Stir the pot.
Well, they took a gamble. That's all it was. They took a gamble. I mean, they traded me for Judge. That was the trade, and then Troy was able to get Gio too, right? He was able to get Gio. He kind of played the game of, hey, they're close to draft positions. I mean, I think me and Judge was the main trade. Gio was just a bonus, and not that Gio wasn't a good player you want, but being able to pull Gio too really made that trade kind of a real lopsided trade. Because after that, I mean, I posted the records earlier. The Deeks, I only got 2 wins, one in OT, while we went on that 8-0 run the rest of the way after the trade. And then the Ellis trade too. Sorry, we like you, Crunk, but the Ellis did a lot more for them, I guess.
Hey, let's be fair. It's the best out of 3. We're gonna say that trade is still be determined on there.
I'm talking about the regular season production. I'm not talking about postseason production. Postseason production means nothing. It's best of 2 wins.
At the end of the day, I don't care if you guys go 8-0, 9-0 in the regular season post trade. If you guys don't get it done in the playoffs, it doesn't really matter in the end. So
I completely agree
100%.
with that. 100%. It doesn't matter what the hell you do in the regular season if you can't put it together in the playoffs. I'm just using the regular season as that's why I didn't say 9-0. I said 8-0.
that is fair. You guys did have some overtime wins and anything, but when it really comes down, if it comes down to it, though, if it's in the playoffs, it doesn't matter. That marks you for a victory to win that series.
Yeah.
So, it doesn't always help 100% with the points in the regular season, but in the playoffs, if you go to overtime and you win that, that's all that matters.
Yeah.
A win is a win is a win. So, you guys have been very impressive. And actually, I just thought of something. I'm going to we'll go around real quick. So we have, and I'm going to skip the people involved in the games. So we have the Americans.
So he's talking only.
Yeah, so
Person's the only one talking.
We have the Americans versus the Seals tomorrow or next Monday. Crunk, who do you have in that game?
Americans.
Pete, who are you thinking?
I want to say the Americans, but I don't know. Giving the Seals a 1-0 lead, I kind of think it's a toss up. I gotta say, it's a push for me. I can't see any team pulling out. We'll see what Proctor does in the first period. I'll let you know.
Are you asking about the series or
The game.
just the next game?
Just the next
Well,
game.
the game next week, which could lead to the end of the series type of thing. But we didn't. When we talked about next week's games, I think we actually did predictions.
I'm gonna go with Seals. I got the feeling they're closing it out.
And obviously, like I said, we're not going to go towards the people that are involved in the game. So I'm not going to go to ShaunE. So I'm going to take the Seals as well. I predicted them last week to actually take the series. I feel like there's going to be a fire under your guys' ass to get it done this coming week. If you don't,
Or smoke at least.
There's always smoke.
There's always smoke.
There's gonna be fire in the Americans' ass too, though.
Yeah.
I mean, so
They're going to come out hot.
Well, I think there's going to be fire under the Americans' ass as well. Obviously, Proctor, he's got his reputation of winning the cup the last 3 years. The fourth would also be a great effort on his side of things.
Does he have the Aspen hangover though?
That is fair. I feel like if the Seals don't get it done this week, that turns into the whole, oh crap, like kind of clenching those butt cheeks, like stuff happens. Like they need to get it done this week. I feel like almost more fire, more pressures on them this week than almost the Americans are. So I'm going to pick them to win. And then in turn, we have the Tigers versus the North Stars. Like I said, you two involved in the game. I expect you to pick your own team. If not, I look down on you. ShaunE, coming over to you. Give us your analysis on that game coming up.
I got to pick the North Stars. I think they're hot. Watching them last night, it was total domination. Their two lines, both of them could be a first line on any other team. It's tough to match that. So,
yeah, over to me. I'm going to do what Troy doesn't want me to do. I'm going to take the North Stars this coming week. I'm going to say they're going to get it done, and I'm going to say they're going to take that series to the finals.
Way to put the Tigers as the underdogs. God damn you.
Hey, like I said, Troy consistently says, you just don't believe in us. I'm not going to lie. I'm a little disappointed. I thought Grandma Gio was going to give us a call tonight. Apparently the time zone got to her. She's probably asleep before she remembered to do that. But I'm going to go a sweep on both sides. If that is the case, I have already confirmed that there won't be a bye week. We'll just go straight into those finals instead of the 3 games, which will be interesting. If we don't, I would assume that, we'd have a 9:00 game. If one team sweeps and the other team doesn't, I'm assuming the 9:00 game would be the team that's the real thing. Kind of go into that. Obviously, I think priority would be to make sure that other team that advanced to the final would get a skate in to make sure they stay fresh, because that's only fair, and continue on into the NHL ice for the other teams that are available, which all seems fair to me, because to me, priority goes to every team that is still alive and still in the playoffs. We want to be fair to them. So,
definitely don't want to take that week off if you get it. I think it really throws off your rhythm.
Yeah. That was the one thing we were scared about with the bye week. We wanted the bye week because of Gio. wanted to get him healthy and stuff like that, you know, and even Math to get him healthy. But we were scared about the bye week, you know. That's why we had a little scrimmage with you guys, making sure to keep the legs kind of fresh and stuff like that, but not overdoing it so we don't, you know, he didn't get hurt or anything like that. But that's always a fear. You come out flat, and we showed it. We did come out flat. Granted, it only took about 4 minutes to get going, but again, that was sloppy. You know, and no matter what you guys are predicting, again, I know Crunk, I know us too on the North Star side, we're taking a very cautious approach the next week. That's great. You guys got the 1-0 lead. We got the 1-0 lead. That helps us out, but there's no slacking. There's no looking down on your opponent because, you know, it's what do they say? You know, once you got a dog in a corner like that, right? That's one of the most scary, right? When
that's what I was thinking. We have a cornered Proctor. So
yeah, it's exactly. Got to be careful.
It's gonna be tough.
So I said, us with the lead, we're in the driver's seat. We're gonna hopefully not gonna let you guys breathe. We'll keep our foot on your throat and keep it that way. But you know, and it's anybody's game still.
For sure.
Troy, just for the record, he claimed his Twitch broke, and then he said, "Did Piercy really pick the North Stars?" Yes, I did, Troy. So you might be a little bit sad about that, but you'll have to deal with it. Maybe for the fun of it, I'll just pick you the rest of the way. It's kind of that karma curse. I don't know.
No karma curse. It's a different North Stars team.
Right. Well, I don't believe in karma or luck or anything.
Have you heard Troy yell yet?
Ever or recently?
This playoff. Have you heard Troy been out of shape yet?
This play, you mean from yesterday?
But in the last 9 games, have you heard Troy could get pissed off at anything?
Yes.
Like in Troy fashion?
Yeah.
I haven't heard him at all. He's been quiet. He's been an angel.
Is Troy's quiet like Peso's yelling? Is that the definition there?
No, Troy's been quiet. Troy's been an angel. He hasn't get anybody's case. Everybody's been happy in that room.
Oh, you mean like the yelling and berating your own players?
Yeah. Not the other team. The other team it's allowed. No, that's completely allowed.
That is more than fair. So, you know, obviously we have at minimum one more week going for round 2. It probably would be exciting if both games went to round 3, but some teams might not like that, obviously. Then we go on to the finals. Then, I don't know. I'm assuming we have 1 week or so between spring or something to that realm. But either way, I don't know how long we have ice for. If you're available for those open ice in the NHL, it's always fun to get those skates and stay in shape. Just stay on the ice and stay fresh. You know, make sure you jump out. I know last week I did offer to sit out just to try to say if we were over 20 guys, I was willing to sit out because that is a pain in the ass. But, and with the podcast, I try to watch some of the games as well. So I have some things to say about that, but it's always a good time, fun skate. There's a lot of guys playing positions, you know, you can play a little less of a solid game, try to score, have some fun. So
how was the turnout on that other ice?
We had 20 originally. I think I was actually sitting out, when I volunteered for that. And then I think one guy dropped, and then I was able to jump in, which, especially with the score of the game, I'm glad I did. But yeah, I know we had 10 guys. I believe they had 10 guys, so it was a lot of fun. So
good participation.
Yeah, it seemed like it. I mean, there was nobody really watching our game. I think there was about a handful of people, you know, by locker room 1 over there watching the game.
They pulled up Piercy. We're like, whoa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's again. Good for them that they went out skating because we didn't really provide any fireworks or anything like that, right? I mean, the funny, you know, about the most fireworks we're watching to see whether Hedis would break a stick or not, right? Because he got animated once he gave up a couple goals. But other than that, it was a pretty, again, the game was kind of in the bag by the middle of the second. I think the only thing we were trying to do is make sure we didn't give you guys the game back. But in not doing that, we kept scoring because Hedis was just having an off night.
Yeah, and I think I didn't realize it was we set this clock for whatever times we would be able to hopefully see the last 10 minutes or so. And Drager actually came into there and stopped the clock. And all of a sudden I was like, why is the clock stopped? And whoop, he skated a double, so you can't be mad at him. He actually was like, I'm going to go over there. I'm tired. So then kind of cooking down the time. It's like, I want to see the end of this game. What the heck's going on? So I'm just like, well, I'm going to go over there. Some other people, when they kind of realized the clock stopped, it seemed like they went over there as well, walked over there, and there was just like score was just like,
yeah,
crap.
Yeah, it's good to be on that side of a victory in a playoff game. I mean, God, I hate losing the first game. And and Percy made fun of me, I think 2 weeks ago, about how many playoff games have you won? I'm like, fuck you.
That
It was like every mistake that we made, no matter the big ones led to goals, the minor mistakes led to goals, and I was talking, I think it was with Rubel afterwards. He goes, the way that skate was, it didn't feel like an 8-2 game. He said it felt like more of like a 5-2 game because it didn't feel like you had sustained like pressure in our zone nonstop. We were circling and just getting shots. Everything was just a mistake in the middle ice or a mistake, a bad turnover, and just boom, goal.
Myers' perfect pass to Joe Ellis in the slot with nobody on him, right? Or things like that. Or I mean, just things. That kind of stuff was happening. I think Ben said after his goal, it's like, God damn, it was the first set of puck luck we had all night long. I'm like, yeah, just one of those nights. Just one of those nights.
Yeah, it happens to everybody. Yeah. But yeah, next week I think will be exciting. Hopefully the rest of the year will be good. Shout out to Drager as well. I think it was maybe Gio who let him use his camera, but those shots that came in, if you haven't actually seen a lot of the photos, I think it's photos.mnlhl.com. We actually have a shared album throughout the league. There's a ton of photos for the last 3 or 4 years in there. Go there. A lot of good shots. It's good to see.
Yeah.
Drager was working hard yesterday, taking some shots. There were some very nice ones in there. So as well, Benders and Brews. We now have a TikTok account. I've posted like 2 or 3 times. I don't understand TikTok. ShaunE, you're a young hip guy. Do you know anything about TikTok?
No.
I said it last week. Dynamite drop in.
I'll bring my son. I'm sure he'll be able to teach us.
That's
how to
right.
do it.
Yeah. Can we get a write up of what TikTok is about? I've went there and it's all it does is it shows some girls that are usually kind of showing their boobs a little bit and some cleavage, and then they'll like kind of some song plays and they lip sync to it, and I'm like,
sounds like our perfect sponsors.
Hey,
get Proctor on the case right away.
Hey, I'm good for that. Any sponsorship towards the league, I'm cool with. So, also I loved ShaunE. Hopefully, we were focusing on ShaunE's face when I asked him what he knew about TikTok, because he looked at me like I was crazy. I'm the 40-year-old guy asking the guy that I'm assuming you're in your 20s still.
I'm 30.
Close enough. Asking if you know about that, and you're just like, what? No. I don't know anything about that.
I know nothing.
Well, apparently you're not as cool as you look,
So
ShaunE.
why do we have TikTok if we don't know what it is?
Why the hell not?
Let's get them all. What I'm wondering is,
it's like Pokemon. Collect them all.
Here's he said he did it 3 times and doesn't know what it is, which is even blows your mind even more.
I don't know. I know it's just the new social media craze. So I was like, I'm just gonna stake my claim on that same name that I have across the other ones. So
Dave P., our resident hipster who can't talk, says ShaunE has to make a dance for TikTok. So apparently, ShaunE, you have to dance, which I don't know why we need ShaunE to dance when we have our best dancer in the chat. We just got to bring him on. We got the Whoop Shuffle. What else do you need?
To be fair, Dragers can groove too. I've seen him groove a few times. So maybe we'll have a dance off.
Turtle can dance.
That is true. I've seen him dance before as well. I'm not part of that competition because I don't have any rhythm. Obviously, on the ice you can tell that. So it
looks like we need a Dickie Award, best dancer.
More than fair. And remember, if you want to get those Dickie nominations in the next 2 weeks, go to news.mnlhl.com. Find that article, list of categories. I think if you want to nominate a new category, Dickie's open to that as well.
Listen, for us old guys, i.e. you, myself, Dickie, a few other people there, we'll throw a piece of we'll like open up, put some cardboard down at center ice and let them go to town. And Dave P. to provide all the Adidas
tracksuits.
I was gonna say who has the boom box that they can be playing with there as well. But yeah, I'm surprised. We almost went 1 hour and 10, so I didn't think we had that much to talk about. We are looking for people next week as well. It sounds like next week we're gonna have Ty and possibly Ref Joey coming in.
Awesome, about time.
So that'll be interesting. Maybe we can hear.
Question.
Sure.
Do you have a booster for him?
Well, Dave P's been in here a few times, so if we can handle Dave P,
we put him in Hess's chair, right?
If we can handle Dave P, we can handle
mic.
Joey.
Yeah, okay.
Is Joey that small, tiny?
He's a tiny guy
compared to Dave P.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know if Dave P's wearing lifts in the skate or anything like that. I don't know what he's doing.
Yeah, I don't know.
I haven't seen the man. I don't know what the hell. Maybe he grew up for all I know.
But yeah, like I said, so looks like we're looking at Ty. We're looking at Ref Joey. Have another spot. I don't know if Hedis will recover by then. It might be more of a how that game went this coming week as well. So I know also, to be fair to Hedis as well, just to throw it out there, he also does play hockey on Tuesdays as well. So sometimes he sub, so he has games he can't actually make because of that. So we kind of have the rule out there. If we have someone who volunteers ahead of time, we can get them in. But we do try to get people. So we have a North Star coming in. We have a ref coming in. The goal would be to try to get someone from the Americans or the SEALs as well. So if you're interested, let us know. We'll put you on the list. It's a better thing. You know, it's nice having a Tiger, a SEAL, and a North Star coming in. You're stuck with me, unfortunately. It's my house. I have to be here. So Dylan apparently claims that he's in as well. He's been a lot of times. If someone is interested other than him, he's more than cool about it as well. But I always love Dylan coming in as well. So just let us know. ShaunE, how was your experience here?
It's been great. I've honestly pretty impressed. I know you sent out that outline for the show this afternoon, and you know, this setup here, it's pretty clear you put in a lot of work. So thanks for doing this.
Yeah, that's what happens when you're old. You don't have much of a life. But I appreciate the thanks for that. Crunk coming in a second time. Sounds like, I don't know why. Sometimes like I said, I know I have to, sometimes the XRL cables go a little bit bad. It sounds like it's actually fixed itself along the way.
It was pretty amazing. Yeah, I don't know what it sounded crazy in my ear for a while.
Yeah, well, we deal with it. Don't want you not talking.
I'm never coming back again. This is unacceptable.
Sad. No. Pete, you're in my little tag cloud, you're becoming bigger and bigger. So you're becoming a regular now.
I know. Well, like I said, I didn't realize you lived so close by, and it's, you know, get out of the house.
Yeah.
One of those amazing things I feel like at first you're almost just like podcast. I'm not coming on one of those things. All of a sudden you come on and now it's been like 4 of the last 5 weeks. Can't get rid of you.
No, I told you. It's usually I play on Tuesday nights too. And you know, apparently the way the schedule's been working now, we no longer have 9:45 or 10 o'clock games. Everything's like 11 o'clock or midnight. And so it's been a hell of a lot easier to go from here to the rink.
I was gonna say it's been brutal. Don't you have a midnight tonight?
I did. I don't think we had enough people say they were going to play, so we're going to just to play the forfeit. Which, come on, let's be honest, a 12 o'clock game on a Tuesday night. Who the f thinks of that? But Dylan was going to be in. We were going to ask Dylan to play again for us.
Yeah, that can be brutal. I know we had what was it tomorrow? We have an 11 o'clock, which that's rough enough.
Yeah, ain't kidding on that. It doesn't get any easier as you get older. You know, those late games will kick the shit out of you.
Yeah, I'm lucky. Typically Thursday I work from home, so that gives me a full extra hour of sleep, which does help because just by the time waking up and getting up, I can essentially wake up and go straight to work. So that does make it nice for sure.
Yep.
So looks like we did get another follower, Garen, too.
Who the hell's Garen? Hi there. But
yeah, we appreciate that as well. So hi there as well. So yeah, as always, give us a call on the Whoop line, 714-75-WHOOP. It'd be nice to see an email. I don't know. I don't think we've ever got an email, podcast@mnlhl.com. Follow, subscribe on Twitch. You know, we had Dave P today. We had Pete resubscribe. We always love those people. I think we have ShaunE 3 or 4 months in. You know, a lot of people are giving back. Hopefully it just lets us support the league even more, reduce cost, give more to the league, whatever. So, yeah, so next week, Game 2. We'll see if we're into the finals next week or if we have some Game 3s coming up. But yeah, for the crew, I think we're over.